KFOG Studio Session. Please welcome Max Frost.
Hello, good morning, how you doing? I'm waking up, shaking yesterday's blues, yeah. I turn the TV off, it's bad news, man. I'm feeling fresh like a zipper, like new, man. OJ with a champagne tune-up. Mimosa, Holy Ghost running through, yeah. Hell yeah, it's a new hallelujah. Popping like the top of a bottle and I ain't stopping, yeah. Baby, it's a brand new day. Ain't no clouds hanging over me, but something doesn't feel the same. The rest of my life gonna start the day. Now good morning, na 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 na. Good morning, na 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 na. Good morning, na 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 na. The rest of my life gonna start the day. Crawling out the ocean, this is evolution. Can I get into another animal, the next level? I spread out wings and I just wanna sing. In the future, now the past can't harm me. Forget about yesterday, Paul McCartney. I'm feeling like I'm beating on stage and the whole wide world's gonna know my name. Baby, it's a brand new day. Ain't no clouds hanging over me, but something doesn't feel the same. The rest of my life gonna start today. Good morning, na 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 na. Good morning, na 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 na. Good morning, na 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 na. The rest of my life gonna start the day. Ooh. So no, do two more, right? One more. Which one should I do? Can you give me a little bit more vocal in this monitor, please? Whoa, yeah! Oh, there it is. Yeah, perfect, right there. My car's a rental, not presidential. I got no diamonds on the doors of my house. Up on my level, you're something special, and I know I gotta get you somehow. No sterling silver, no greenback fountains glittering down. I'm waiting on my day to come. No champagne dinners, cause I can't pay the bill when we're out. No, no, I got nothing in my pockets. Tell me, baby, do you judge me? I got money for problems. I got money for problems. I've been thinking way too often. Maybe on the gold is flawless. I got money for problems. I got money for problems, yeah. Hey, one thing you started from the bottom when you're coming from the top of the chain. Either looking for a way to get it or a way to cover your save. But don't sweat it when they take that percentage, cause what goes, baby, comes around. No sterling silver, no greenback fountains glittering down. I'm waiting on my day to come. No champagne dinners, cause I can't pay the bill when we're out. No, no, I got nothing in my pockets. Tell me, baby, do you judge me? I got money for problems. I got money for problems. I've been thinking way too often. Maybe on the gold is flawless. I got money for problems. I got money for problems, yeah. Benjamin's in Vegas, flying from the sky. Where you been, your faces, always on my mind. I can't pretend I dream of when I get some ends and all my friends go screaming money, money, money. No sterling silver, no greenback fountains glittering down. I'm waiting on my day to come. No champagne dinners, cause I can't pay the bill when we're out. No, no, I got nothing in my pockets. Tell me, baby, do you judge me? I got money for problems. I got money for problems. I've been thinking way too often. Maybe on the gold is flawless. I got money for problems. I got money for problems. I got nothing in my pockets. Tell me, baby, do you judge me? I got money for problems. I got money for problems. I've been thinking way too often. Maybe on the gold is flawless. I got money for problems. I got money for problems, yeah. Coolio.
KFOG Studio Session. I'm here with the one and only Max Frost.
Yo!
Yeah, man. I like how Max Frost wrote his own Good Morning anthem to wake him up. It's like his audio cup of coffee.
I guess I'm coining it as the first morning party song.
It really
That's the way I'm
is.
explaining it. I was like, every party song is like, it's 2 a.m. in the club, super late at night in the club. But I didn't want to write that. I wrote the morning party song.
You're demented. One thing that I really like that you do, Max, is you're super interactive with your fans, and you actually have this thing called the Good Morning Challenge.
Yeah, we're getting it going.
Explain where that came about, and the concept is you basically just raid someone's house while they're asleep and start singing your song in their living room.
It is a version of that. We basically are looking out for people at a university who are fans of the song and who have friends that are fans, and we are looking to surprise the majority of them. That's kind of the key. There's a lot of collusion involved because basically we kind of have to set them up where it's like, all right, we know that this group of them will be at this house and they'll be asleep, probably from a late night. So then I'll sneak in and I have the PA and I set the PA up, and then we get the extras and they're all dressed in like bacon and egg costumes, and we have like confetti and champagne, and then we crank the PA, we hit the song, crank it up, and run in blasting it, and just like as soon as they come out and we're like hitting the confetti and hitting the champagne, and it's just like this hilarious way to just get this because at first people are like, we just did the first one where there was even a GoPro like in the room where they're waking up, and so they're waking, they're like, you see them first just look on their face of like, I'm about to punch someone in the face.
Yeah.
And then they open the door and they realize they're on like,
You're sitting there singing the song to
or
them.
just standing on their table, whatever, and so yeah, it's been a lot of fun because it's just, I don't know, it's just fun so fun to bring joy to people.
Yeah, especially early in the morning. Your new record, Gold Rush, it's kind of, I don't want to, I always hate to kind of like define what it means, but it seems like there's a theme in that as far as kind of like new beginnings or kind of reinvention. Would you agree with that?
Totally, yeah. I mean, that's to me, the record began as knowing that I had to go reinvent it. It's called Gold Rush because of me moving to the West Coast to just wipe the slate clean creatively and in my life and just kind of start over. And so I moved a little over a year ago and pretty much made the record in about that amount of time, and the rush was gold.
And you're originally from Austin, Texas. How's that transition coming out to the West Coast, man? Like what do you miss most about Austin?
I miss the breakfast tacos. I miss traffic being solidified to places where you know where it's going to be. In LA, traffic is like a chinchilla that'll just pop out of the tree in your face out of nowhere. You're like, what? Like 2 a.m, you might hit some traffic.
Yeah.
Not really the case in Austin. And it's just a small, chill town, except for during South by. Then most people in the world only know Austin because of South by Southwest. They're like, oh yeah, man, I've been to Austin, man, South by Southwest. But the way I explain that is that's like if you've only met a person when they were just hammered drunk. That's what, you're meeting Austin, that's not what, Austin isn't always, there's 2 million people walking the streets and like bashing bottles against the doors, and Google doesn't always have like 10 tents and Lady Gaga eating Doritos at the Doritos tent. They don't always have that. So everyone's idea of Austin is that like, oh yeah, I've met Austin, man. He's super hammered all the time, man.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
Like, no, he's not.
Yeah, Austin's a nice, quiet place to live.
Yeah, it actually is.
Let's talk about moving to Los Angeles to kind of like that clean slate vibe as far as approaching music differently and whatnot. I know that you kind of have a mentor that you've been working with, Mr. Fitz from Fitz and the Tantrums.
Michael Fitzpatrick.
How did you hook up with him? How does that work? I mean, is it like you just moved to LA, you get off the plane, you unpack your box, and then like the dude from Fitz and the Tantrums like, hey bro, I'm your neighbor, let's make music. How does that work?
So he was kind of part of the reason I ended up moving. He was kind of the final sign from the universe that it really was time to fully move to LA, because we had known each other and he had been a friend, but I had opened for him, years ago. We had written together a couple times. I mean, he's a really great focused like songwriter and producer aside from being an artist. He's looking to work with other people, and so we had done a couple of sessions and I was playing him kind of what I was working on. And, he was super honest with me. He was like, look, I think this is really great, but you've got to find a really specific place to point all this. I don't know why my impression of Fitz drifts into, I'm not even going to say it, but yeah. So
that was kind of like, that was like a mentor voice. That was kind of like a Yoda type vibe.
Yeah, he really has been. He's been like the very tall Yoda version of my musical
tight pants
life.
Too. Wearing those tight pants.
And so yeah, he turned to me one day and was like, look, I just want to like, what if I just step in and A&R your record, because I
I'd kind of been looking for a creative mentor really for a long time. You know, I'd always had people that were helpful to me on how to make business decisions. I'd had no real, because, you know, especially as a solo artist, there's so few people that have made good decisions that you can even get to. You know what I mean? Like, I can't call, like, Ed Sheeran or Bruno Mars and be like, so, dude, like, how'd you handle this? I can't call, I can't ask them.
Yeah.
So he's not exactly a solo artist, but in a certain way he is, you know, and so it's just been great to have someone who I can call, like, before I do Good Morning America for the first time, who can be like, it's gonna be really early, just make sure you drink a lot of water, or whatever, just whatever the pep talk is, you know?
Yeah. Wear a clean T-shirt.
Wear a really clean shirt.
Yeah, bring some gum.
Don't smoke cigarettes before it like I did.
Does he ever talk in that voice and give you advice that you just don't understand, and you're just like, okay, just because it's him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to really, like,
well, he's always
argue
giving me
with
advice that's about to take care of my voice. He's like, just don't party too much. And I'm like, dude, you're like smoking a cigarette while we're having this conversation right now. You just got off stage. You're like screaming at me on the phone right now.
you. Fantastic. I love the thought of that, though, of you kind of having like a Fitz Yoda to kind of guide you.
No, it's been incredible, and he's become one of my best friends. And you know, the record would not have been the same without him, because really more than anything, he just pushed me to. It was just so nice to have someone who could speak the language of songwriting, who could call me out on my BS and just be like, "You're doing that too much," or "That's B minus." You know what I mean? Because it's, you know, it's hard for you. Don't always know. You don't always know. You might even do, like with Good Morning. I didn't think it was worth playing for him. It's not even always to say the negative thing about the thing. It's to be like, no, that's great. Just do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I got to see you. You're kind of at an exciting crossroads in your career. I got to see you last night at the Oracle with AWOL Nation and 21 Pilots. And if you haven't seen Max play live, it's a one-man show. And I got to be honest with you, I was a little stressed out for you. I play the drums. I've been in bands like pretty much my whole life. You are running across the stage, like pressing samplers, playing the drum, standing up, grabbing a bass, like juggling every instrument that anyone could possibly play in a band. And your timing has to be like dead on, or it's disaster, right? I mean, are you insane? Like, why would
now
you
that
make
say
it that
that,
hard?
the next step would be to juggle to literally juggle. Is what it makes it sound like. No, it's funny. It's tough to always explain it to people because it does sound like I'm one of those guys on the street who's like kicking a cymbal behind his head and it's like, shh. It isn't really, you know, I always say that it's like a loop show that's an actual rock show instead of just a science project, which it is very kind of mad scientist, but I know I'm glad you saw it because it's really a hard thing to explain to people. They always just kind of don't believe, they're like, that's cool. But I can tell that they're like, his show was probably terrible inside. But then if they see it, they dig it usually, you know.
And where did that come from? I mean, was that just like you know, you're in the studio and you're making these songs? I think that's one of the great things about technology now and music is that you're able to reproduce what you can do in a studio a lot easier. You know, like if you want to have a wind chime, you don't necessarily have to have like a wind chime on stage. Although you probably would.
Exactly. That's the next. It's weird that you knew that. A marimba. So yeah, I mean, I first started playing in bands when I was 14, and some bands I'd play drums in, some bands I'd play bass, guitar. I didn't really start singing that much until I was like 16 in bands. But then when I started kind of going into a cave and just making records and not playing live as much, that side of my musical life like jumped way ahead of where I was at as a performer. So the past few years have really been me catching up to that. And the one-man show was a big part of, because it's one thing to make a song. It's one thing to make a song that fits your identity as an artist. But then it's really hard to be like, okay, but what is the way that this should feel live? You can't phone that in. You can't just be like, oh, well, it's just going to be me and my friends, and we'll just go up there and just hit the thing. You know, you have to find a way to be like, what's the most you version of that? Which for me right now is that. It's the one-man show.
Let's step away from the stage. Let's step away from the new record. Let's step away from music. How are you staying sane through all this? I mean, like you have like some kind of non-music hobby. Do you meditate? Do you, you know? Earlier we were eating Pop-Tarts together. Yeah. Is it just junk food keeps you going? Like
there's just a calming to the sugar within a Pop-Tart that just sets my mind. It's a certain kind of meditation. No, I don't know. I just am trying to take as many moments as I can to actually like absorb it and process it, you know, because it's such a gift to be on this tour, and it's just like just one of those lightning strike lucky moments that, you know, you always hope will happen, but you never know. And so I guess I'm just trying to take as many moments, even when I'm on stage with them, you know, I just take a moment to be like, wow, this is really, really cool.
Yeah, for those of you who've never seen 21 Pilots before, they bring their opening acts out and do a couple cover songs. And last night Max did "Hey Jude" and I think a Goo Goo Dolls song.
Iris.
It seems so random. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I remember 21 Pilots before they played Chumbawamba, you know.
Did they?
But you were up there playing "Hey Jude," and like that's got to be, you know, looking over. There's Aaron from AWOL Nation, and you kind of sit there and you're like, oh my God, I'm up here. I mean, you can see you were excited.
Oh, for
what's that
sure.
like?
No, I mean it's you know, because there's nothing more fun than that feeling of like you're sitting in on someone else's show just for kind of for a laugh. You know what I mean? It's like you can't really be serious about it. Like, I don't know, because it's not your show, you know, and it's already like at a point in their set where it's like so much amazing stuff has happened, you know, and you're like, because I was watching those guys like win Grammys like a couple years ago, you know, and then like what was really weird is after he called me before the show started to say he wanted to do these covers, I was like imagining the moment in my mind, and I don't know how I knew this, but I knew that when we got off stage, I knew that Ride would be the next song that they would do somehow. Like I was like, that's gonna be, and it is the song that they would do after. I've never even told him that actually, but it was weird. The first show, walking off and then they hit it, I was like, how did I
You have like a
know?
premonition.
I was like, that is like, I knew it.
Yeah.
The song whisperer,
You're like
set list whisperer.
You're like a mind reader. I know that you write a lot of songs on your phone. You have a lot of notes. If you pull out your phone right now, do you have like unfinished songs and like little pieces of stuff or like lyrics written or anything like that? Or are you just playing like Clash of the Clans? What's going
It's
on?
probably me yelling at the phone too, because now the new recording app doesn't even.
Won't lose my.
That's it.
Yeah.
So it's just like that. Like 3 a.m, you're like, you wake up to go to the restroom. You're like, hey, wait
That's
a
the
minute.
worst. Yeah, that's the worst thing is now it's you know I'm always like in a green room with like 13 other people or in a van, and I'm always like not wanting to be like doing it in front of people. So I'll like pull it out and pretend like I'm on my phone, but it's actually on record, and I'm just like turning toward the window, and I'm like. You're kind of singing some idea, but you're not really trying to broadcast it to the other people in there.
That's
In
awesome.
case the idea is just terrible, and they're like, "What's that horrible idea you're singing?"
What are you doing, man? Come on. Max Frost, it's awesome to hang with you, man.
Dude, thanks for having me on. Seriously.
Absolutely. Gold Rush, his latest record. Make sure you go get it. Make sure you support the man. Follow him on all the social medias. Do all that stuff. And who knows? Maybe he'll be waking you up singing "Good Morning."
Go comment, and I'll come to your school and make a mess of confetti and champagne all over your place.
Do you clean that stuff up, man, or do you just kind of?
That's
awesome.
part of the deal.
That's the best. We're gonna come into your place in the morning, way too early, wake you up, totally mess up your whole house, crack a bunch of eggs in your frying pan, and just leave.
It's gonna be sick, man. Yeah, just make sure, like, you know, all that stuff's there for us, and maybe have a mop,
Maybe.
but we're not gonna clean it up.
Awesome.
It's
Max.
not that bad.
Yeah, it's not.
Thanks for having me.